Welcome back, everyone. My name is Echo. Hope you're having an absolutely fantastic day. In today's Minecraft video, we're back on Minecraft Pocket Edition, the Bedrock version, for a brand new full release. This is the version 1.18.10. It is available for Minecraft on iOS, Android, Windows 10, Xbox, Switch, and PlayStation. Here is the confirmation from Jay Megaspud, Community Manager. Would you believe it? The 1.18.10 update is rolling out to Minecraft Bedrock Edition players today. A few highlights: experimental frogs, iron golem cracking / repairing, fixed mobs despawning, and more. If you want the changelog, it is down below. Boy, does it feel good to do today's video. We have been waiting for version 1.18.10 for so long. There is so many important changes. It took me 2 hours to set up today's video alone. I'd also like to remind you, although we do have access to frogs in 1.18.10, we do not have access to the new UI system. That is still only a beta feature. But if you would like to get frogs, whenever you go to a world, scroll down until you see experiments and make sure you have the wild update features enabled. This will give you frogs, tadpoles, and all that good stuff. I strongly believe that this is the biggest update world I have ever done. There is that many changes, I couldn't even fit it on this platform. Alrighty, no time to waste. It took me a very long time to set up, understand, and record today's video. So if you could drop a like, I really appreciate it. Let's see how many of you actually make it to the end of this video. Starting off with changes. World settings can now be changed directly on realms, just like local worlds. So in realms now, if you own one, you're able to go to your settings and adjust your realm settings like you can in a single player world. Rather than having to back out, tweak your settings, start the realm again, and then reload the world. So much easier. There has been a lot of realms changes recently. It's good to see. The other one is if you're playing in South Korea, we added gameplay timers and notices in compliance with gaming laws to help remind players to take occasional breaks from gameplay. Now, I feel like this should not just be in South Korea. This should definitely be a universal thing in Minecraft. It's very easy to sit there for hours, forget how long you've been sitting there, because again, if you sit there for a very long time, your legs start to become numb. So very good change. Hopefully they add that to the whole entire game. Vanilla parity. So these are Java features that have made their way to the Bedrock version. Added the globe banner pattern on Bedrock, which is this one. Now, this is obtained via a cartographer. You're not always going to get a globe banner pattern as your last trade, but it is the last one. Now, if you've already traded with villagers, you're going to have to go and get a fresh villager to get this. Once you get one of them, please move. You're going to need yourself a loom. You're going to need yourself emeralds and stuff like that. So we'll buy one of these real quick. We'll buy it from him. And then in the loom, you put your banner, you put your color, and you put this. And the outcome is going to be the globe banner. So yeah, this has been missing from Bedrock for quite some time. Raid boss bar now displays raid victory, and fireworks are launched from the ground after a raid is defeated. Alrighty, let me show you this. Okay, so there we go. You'll start seeing fireworks, and at the top of the raid bar, it says raid victory. So yeah, pretty good change. I feel like it's more of an accomplishment now. Again, a parity feature finally on the Bedrock version. Villagers now make a no sound when attempting to make a trade that they are out of stock of. Players no longer gain a particle effect when obtaining bad omen from pillager captains. Iron golems now show different degrees of cracking. Iron ingots can be used on damaged iron golems to repair them. So this is finally added to the game. So if we grab ourselves a iron golem here and we do some damage to him, cracked. See, he's very, very cracked. He died this one. Let me try it on this guy. So we'll do damage, and he's damaged. We can repair him with this. No animation when you're repairing them. That would have been nice. And you can repair as many of your iron golems as you wish. So a really good change, finally available for Bedrock players. Removed the emerald icon above a villager's head when trading. Iron golems now only attack players that have a very bad standing in a village after attacking a villager. So if I go to / game mode S, right, and let's say I hit this villager a couple of times, right? Hold, come. I'm not gonna get these iron golems attacking me until I have a bad reputation. Now, a bad reputation could be like hitting them for so many times or killing so many villages. Again, I don't fully know how many it is, but you have like a little bit of a chance now. It's a little bit of a leeway now. So if you start hitting a couple of villages or you hit them by mistake, you're not necessarily going to be beaten up by the iron golem inside of that village. But if you keep doing it, they're going to be, all right, that's enough. We're going to start beating you up. Glow Lichen now has a similar brightness as Java Edition, which is 7. It was previously 10, according to the Minecraft wiki page. Updated trade tables for butchers, cartographers, librarians, and wandering traders. I'm not entirely sure what has changed here. Head over to the Minecraft wiki page. Biome decoration features in cave biomes now have similar frequency as Java Edition. Adjusted the other side music disc to give off a redstone signal of 14 to match Java Edition. So, if we grab this, it's all to do with the signal output that you get from playing music. Now, it's 14 on Java Edition, which is now what Bedrock is. And this one here is adjusted the pig step music disc to give off a redstone signal of 13 to match Java Edition. So, I haven't got it with me. If we grab myself a music disc, which is the pig step one, and we play this one, this will give you a signal of 13. Other side is 14. Pig step is 13. They have updated textures for multiple blocks and items to remove bugs and achieve parity between Bedrock and Java Edition. There is so many changes. These are all the things that they have changed, like lodestone compass, oak door, dark oak door, jungle doors, signs, dark oak signs, crimson signs, campfires, soul campfires, item frame, glow item frame, glow berry vines, comparators with when it's on wither. There's so many changes that they have done with this. It's better to put it on a book rather than a sign. And then the next one here is additional textures updates. Read the changelog. So this is for things like glass panes, oak doors, iron doors, the bottom of your armor stands, the lectern stuff, the bottom of barrels, and things like boats. There is so many. I haven't placed them all down because some of these are very minimalistic, and unless you really, really looked at it, you wouldn't spot the difference. Here is all of the changes. Again, I recommend going to check the changelog if you're interested in what they changed and how they changed it. A lot of them are very minimalistic. But a good one is to do with boats. So basically, the boats ore on the texture was all the same. I think all ores were the oak texture. However, this is spruce, and the color of spruce looks so different. Maybe it's just me. But yeah, now the actual boat ore texture is matched in the item itself. Let's get into the exciting stuff. Experimental features. Frogs. Now, the stuff that happened in last week's beta is not available for frogs. So, for example, in the most recent beta, frogs are able to be bred using a slime ball, right? So, in this week's beta, full release, you can't use this. As a placeholder, it's done with seagrass. So, that didn't quite make it. Now, a couple of things to mention with frogs. I'm going to have to grab myself a sword here, because I've gone over these many, many times. Frogs are biome dependent. So there's like 3 different variations. Some that will spawn, well, they'll spawn in swamp biomes. You can have like a warm one, and you can have like a colder one. So if I spawn a frog, they will eat slimes. They will eat the baby slimes. They do not eat the big slimes. They only like the little ones. Now when they eat them, they will drop slime balls. So a lot of people are already thinking how they can make a automatic slime farm using these. They will, as well, eat magmas. when a frog consumes a magma, it will drop a new block, which is the Froglight, which I will go over in a little bit more detail. So frogs are here. Let me show you a different variation of a frog. So there's one color of frog. As we enter the colder biome, you'll see different variations of frogs. So these are like, I don't know, like a better green, in my opinion. Now, if a frog eats a magma in a cold biome, the block that you will get is a different kind of Froglight. Again, I'm going to go over them in a second. So yeah, multiple kinds of frogs. Frogs are far from complete, so what we have in full release right now will be very, very different compared to when they are complete. The next changes, we have tadpoles. Of course, you can't get frogs without starting off with tadpoles. Now, these are called frog eggs. They will be renamed to frog spawn, which is the correct terminology for it. Now, you can get a bucket of tadpoles as well. These will hatch incredibly fast. Obviously, can be spawned on water. They'll pop out. You'll end up with these. After a certain period of time, I believe they will just grow up into an adult. And then you can put them in a bucket as well. So you can get a bucket of them. So if we grab ourselves a water bucket, you can pick them up and take them with you. If you wanted to take them to your own little pond, you could do that. And I think the bucket of tadpole is so cute. It's just his little eyes popping out. So yeah, tadpoles, of course, and frogs. And as you can see, these guys are bouncing like crazy. And it looks like, oh my god, it's like 5 or 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Like 9. Like 9 pop out. I mean, I don't think it's 9. We'll get like 4 or 5. But yeah, you get so many tadpoles from the spawn eggs. And to make things cooler, we have a new block. This is Froglight. We have the Verdant variation, the Pearlescent Froglight version, and the Ochre. Again, depending on what frog eats a slime. I can't fully remember which biome they have to be, but I covered it all in beta versions if you're interested in that. It's a really, really nice block to mess around with, in my opinion, too. And you can kind of place them in like different directions, too. Yeah, they can be placed in different directions. So a very unique light being added to the game. So Sculk Blocks are now accessible when you enable experimental. It says, can be obtained via enabling experimental features. So you'll be able to get the Sculk Vein, Sculk Catalyst, which I believe you can stand on this maybe. You've got the Sculk Shrieker, which if you do stand on this one, lets off like an air freshener effect, and it will give you like the darkness. Still a work in progress. Still not been completed. And Sculk Sensors. So if you just type in Sculk now, you can see them there. Moving on to fixes, performance and stability. Fixed an issue that could cause entities in a chunk to not save when exiting a world. If you've been experiencing missing villages, missing mobs, missing animals in your Minecraft world, it has now been fixed. Even if you name them, they could disappear. That has been fixed according to the Minecraft developers and the bug report. The game now loads certain seeds and worlds around mesa biomes without crashing. Fixed a crash that could occur when trading maps with cartographer villagers. Fixed a crash that could occur when shift-clicking armor in the crafting table while using Pocket UI. So if you're on Pocket Edition, still here in today's video, let me know if that's been fixed for you. Fixed issue where breaking blocks, opening chests, and entering portals would be delayed / not work when there are lots of mobs nearby. Optimize the placement of geode feature in worlds. Reduced the amount of network packets sent with the sub-chunk request system and packet optimization. Gameplay changes. Boats no longer disappear when getting out of them after a long ride. So anyone who's been using boats, going really, really far, and then getting out and the boat just completely disappearing and your animal disappearing too, that has been fixed. Boats are still not 100% fixed though. Like if you go to a really, really cold biome and you do what I'm doing now, they're quite laggy when you get out this way, like going forward. They're quite laggy. You see it? It's like very, very choppy. The next change, players can now use emotes while standing on scaffolding. So really weird one. If you were inside scaffolding like this and you tried to emote, you couldn't do it last time. I mean, this time you can. So yeah, that's been fixed. Capped the freezing range of the Frostwalker enchantment to 8 blocks to avoid server unresponsiveness. The Iron Belly achievement can once again be unlocked. So for anyone who's been trying to do it, which is to do with eating rotten flesh, and you couldn't unlock that achievement, try it now. Should be fixed. Players can no longer be hurt by their own armor enchantments, such as thorns. So I just want to double check and see if the duplication glitch still works. I have showed you this numerous times in many different videos. So we need to put armor on with thorns, or got thorns, bow with insta damage. If we just like injure myself and try and kill myself here, you can duplicate your items. Let's see if we can, it's still working or not. Yeah, they have patched it. So yeah, there was a method to this madness where you could basically duplicate your armor and things like that. It was set to be patched, and we can confirm it seems to have been patched. There's no way you can duplicate your armor anymore. Fixed a camera issue when entering a bed while still in glide mode. So basically you'll be flying in your bed. Pillager outposts now spawn the correct number of pillagers and iron golems. Let's go to the bug report. This one's pretty funny. Too many pillagers and iron golems can spawn at outposts. So check this video out, right? Like, look how many of them are in there. It reminds me of like when the clowns all get out the tiny red car and they just keep getting out. So all the iron golems were all crammed in one spot, and you can also see there's way too many pillagers. It's been fixed. World generation changes. Large dripstone feature does not generate floating on top of lava anymore. Pointed dripstone clusters no longer have a chance of spawning only stalagmites of a height of 1. So that's to do with just them dropping down of like 1 like this. I think it's that one. I think it's that one. So if I'm wrong here, I apologize. But it's to stop basically the biome looking very clustered, and just it didn't look that great. So they have fixed that and they have changed that. The next one is pointed dripstone now sometimes generates on large stalactites and stalagmites. Large pools now only generate in positive Y coordinates. Lava pools that generate close to Y equals 0 will have deep slate and stone blocks casings. Coral now generates in deeper depths of warm oceans. The Grove biome now has more variety of spruce trees. Fixed mesa and frozen ocean biomes having inconsistent generation on realms. The Bedrock layer in old world chunks is now replaced with deep slate between Y equals 0 and Y equals 8. So I think this one is to do with people were still getting the bedrock block spawning in their Minecraft worlds, especially if they were using very, very old worlds. So that's been fixed. Copper ore can now generate in deep slate variant in dripstone caves. We have ruined portals under ocean and swamp biomes are no longer waterlogged and will spawn dry. So basically what would happen here is the ruined portal room on its own would just be covered in like water blocks. So that's the change that they've done right there. Chests and monster spawners once again generate correctly in structures. Let me show you this one. This has been an issue since 2017. No chests in desert or jungle temple. As you can see here, they would literally not appear any chests. This was the same in deserts. This is in beta 1.8. How long ago that was. It was in jungle temples. It was spawners in general. Things would just be completely missing. So yeah, after all these years, it's finally been fixed. The bottom of hoodoos in eroded Badlands biome no longer make flat ceiling in caves underneath. Lily pads no longer generate in aquifers under swamp biomes. Fossils can now be generated below Y equals 0 with deep slate diamond ore blocks instead of coal ore blocks. Fossils will no longer generate floating in caves or water. Mine shafts now always generate above the bedrock layer. I thought this was a pretty cool one. Mineshaft can be generated in bedrock. Basically, your mineshaft would literally be bedrock. I thought it was really cool if like the bottom layer was just bedrock, but things like this where it was really hard to maneuver through was quite an issue. So I think they've raised the cap of where a mineshaft can generate. It can no longer generate through Bedrock. Iceberg features no longer replace snow blocks of igloo structures. Let me show you this. 2 igloos in Snowy Village generate with missing blocks. Check this out. So basically, your house would be overlapped by the structures. It looked so cool, in my opinion. But it was ruining villages. This one's really, really cool, but this one's not really cool. But yeah, that's been fixed. Water in open-air mountain caves no longer generates unevenly. Aquifers no longer generate with missing water blocks. Changes with mobs, villages, rabbits, and foxes spawned in frozen and jagged peak biomes now spawn as their respective snowy variants. Here's the bug report, here's the video. As you can see, these should be the snowy variation of mobs. It was the same with villages, they were not the snowy variation, it's been fixed. Goats now spawn in the jagged peaks and frozen peaks. Axolotl walk animations are now affected by speed. Slimes are now once again aggressive towards snow golems. So yeah, they changed this and then reverted it back. I'm not entirely sure why. But anyway, if you had a snow golem, like this guy, they now attack slimes. They now attack each other. Weirdly enough, they did it on purpose and they made it where they were kind of friendly to one another. Now they've reverted it back. Fixed a bug where the Ender Dragon would become invisible when flying towards the portal fountain after dying. When using the Education Edition toggle, all of these items and mobs says can now have balloons attached to them. So things like pandas, parrots, bears, dolphins, glow squids, goats, hoglins, golems, ocelots, the whole lot can now have balloons attached to them. And then it said, wow, that's a lot of mobs. Skeleton Horseman now pathfind correctly. Skeleton Horseman does not follow the player on Skeleton Horse, so this was a problem for quite some time. This person's in survival, and they're very static and they don't do anything. He's still got an aggressive slime there. So if you see a Skeleton Horse trap, they should chase you a little bit better. But it's still not great compared to the Java version. Farmer villages no longer pick up more than 8 stacks of items. So you're not going to get greedy villagers anymore. I like this change, a very good one. Untamed cats can now be leashed. So if you found a cat that you like in your village, you can leash them. And you can take them home with you. Although they still need to fix the problem with leashes going through my head. Guardians and Elder Guardians no longer sync while targeting an enemy or the player. Changes with blocks. Fire can no longer be placed on top of lightning rods. So you can't light these anymore. It says the width of walls connecting to candles is now correct. So you can put these the right way on top of here. Previously, the hitbox of this was absolutely huge. So good to see that's been fixed. Improved the animation of falling block entities. For example, sand and gravel. So they should fall a lot smoother now. Amethyst clusters are now properly destroyed when the supporting block is destroyed. Copper blocks and variants now oxidize in the nether. Big drip leaf placement has been restricted to clay, grass, dirt, farmland, moss, rooted dirt, podzol, and mycelium. Water blocks near edges should now flow properly. Fixed monster spawners that sometimes stopped spawning mobs when the chunks they were in were reloaded. So basically you would have your spawners and sometimes the mob would still be in there or not in there and they just wouldn't work. So for example, if I had, let's say we had ourselves a zombie, sometimes they just completely stop spawning. And like I said, sometimes they wouldn't have any mobs inside of there. So that's been fixed. Fixed end crystal beams not rendering when an end crystal was out of the player's sight. That's to do with rebirthing the Ender Dragon. Fixed structure blocks infinitely spawning the same entities when loading a structure. We have a sheep in the way. This happens every single video. Structure block structures now correctly transform, in brackets, rotate and / or mirror multi-face blocks like the glow lichen. Big drip leaf, amethyst buds, and amethyst clusters no longer break in structure blocks. Pointed dripstone can now only be placed on full faces of blocks. Glow Lichen is now oriented the correct way when placed. It says magma blocks no longer deal damage when the fire damage game rule is disabled. So if you're on here and we did the / game rule and we did fire and you had fire damage as false, you know, / game mode S, you can see here I'm no longer taking damage. Flower blocks are now properly destroyed by explosions when inside snow layers. Portal blocks are no longer obtainable in survival mode. I checked the bug report for this one, and it doesn't show you how it worked, but players were able to access, you know, like a nether portal. If you had a nether portal, people were able to actually access the nether portal blocks. Primed TNT will no longer explode when spawned using the / summon, and the TNT explodes game rule is disabled. So the / summon will not explode TNT if you have a specific game rule enabled. Cocopods placed on chunk borders no longer break upon reloading a world. Fixed observer blocks retaining its lit state while in the inventory. If destroyed while blinking, fixed an issue where paintings could overlap with glow item frames, signs, banners, and torches. Light block, light intensity can be incremented periodically while holding right click / interact. So now you can place it down and hold it where it's just going to upgrade the level for you. Previously, you had to place it down and tap to change the light. There's a couple more changes here with this as well. Light block, light intensity can be changed on touch input devices, so iOS and Android. Light blocks can now be placed on other light blocks while sneaking. So that's the case of placing it down and sneaking and placing it on top and doing the same again. It's going to be like, okay, this is quite tough actually. How do I do it again? Do this, there you go. Ha! So yeah, you can place these on top of each other. And it says fixed light blocks brightness not being adjustable when playing in VR. Fixed light block not being continuously placed while holding the place button. So previously, they've had a couple of issues with this, right? So now you're able to hold it and just keep holding them down to place them. Previously, you placed one and then it would just stop. I think there's been a recent bug like that as well, very, very recently. And the last one is light block can now be waterlogged. Grab yourself a bucket, place it in there, and it can be waterlogged. Hey, you. Yeah, you. Let me know in the comments section if you're still watching. I appreciate you. If you made it this far, you are the real MVP. Getting into changes with items. Furnaces now consistently output the expected number of items after completing a smelt. Stored experience in a furnace can no longer be duplicated. So I believe these recent changes with furnaces has caused quite a dispute in the Minecraft community because you can no longer use furnaces to store your XP to then come back later on and then gain the XP. A lot of people aren't happy about this. Let me know your opinions in the comments section. It says bow shaking animation now only appears when the bow is fully drawn. So if you're holding a bow, it's no longer shaking. It will only shake when you draw it all the way back, which makes sense. It's about time they made changes with this. There's been a couple of changes with bows in the most recent full releases. Food once again applies status effects when eaten. Offset the position of maps held in hand relative to the screen's aspect ratio, so they always stay close to the edge and remain fully visible. This is to do with people having different TVs, devices, etc. It says item data no longer gets corrupted when items are placed in mob's hand. Fixed first-person offhand shield blocking animation. And so many changes. Let's read the changelog. So there has been a few accessibility changes and quite a lot of user interface changes. Like I mentioned, I was running out of space in my Minecraft world, so I couldn't place it down. So make sure you go and read the changelog to understand what was changed there. There has been some technical changes, including updated resource and behaviors pack for 1.18.10, performance improvements, general commands, data-driven blocks. If you're interested in the technical side of Minecraft, everything you need to know is down below in the description. I'll tell you one thing, my voice is caught after today's video. It took me a very long time to do this video, so if you made it this far, once again, I really appreciate you. Go mess around with frogs, go mess around with cracked iron golems. Go mess around with your Minecraft worlds, and if you made it this far, what are you doing? Get off this video. Go and play Minecraft. Go and update your Minecraft game. Have a wonderful day. See you on the next video. Goodbye.